Cascading Silence, A Fated Glory Novella, by Dan Mason. Chapter 1. At 3:17 local time, the Azeri-Chirag-Gunashli offshore oil field went dark. No tremor preceded it, no missile struck, it just stopped. Within 3 minutes, cascading failures began spreading across the Caspian region's refining infrastructure. A Turkish cargo ship, secretly transporting microprocessors for a NATO-aligned weapons manufacturer, exploded in the Bosphorus. The media blamed lithium-ion batteries. The next morning, a German pharmaceutical facility producing a rare blood-clotting compound suffered a computer-controlled refrigeration failure. 3 weeks later, over 100 hospitals from Prague to Paris were rationing the drug. People died. None of these events made the front page in America, because at 8:45 Eastern Standard Time, a software update at Mercy General in Indianapolis corrupted the hospital's digital triage system. Elderly patients coded blue and flatlined while technicians fumbled with reboot commands. The story was buried under headlines about celebrity divorces and a senator's DUI. These weren't isolated, they were synchronized, designed, orchestrated. Not even the watchmen knew how deep it went. Chapter 2. The Quiet Reaper. In the low light of an underground data center buried beneath a bankrupt insurance firm in Zurich, a pale man with synthetic retinas watched power grids fail in real time. He was called Gregor Halvost, publicly a retired Scandinavian logistics mogul. Privately, he was the chief financier of the Global Equilibrium Initiative, an off-books branch of the syndicate. He didn't believe in borders, faith, or tradition. He believed in calculated entropy. A people in chaos, he often said, will sell their souls for a glass of order. The initiative had a singular goal: destroy the systems that bind nations, power, law, food, medicine, and memory, and replace them with dependence on a new world body. Their weapon wasn't nuclear, it was administrative, algorithmic, slow enough to be explained away, fast enough to create pain. The architect was coming, but the people had to beg for him. Chapter 3. The Domestic Collapse. In America, things unraveled differently. The justice system had been hollowed out from within. Rogue prosecutors trained overseas under programs funded by Halvost's shell foundations refused to prosecute violent criminals. A new class of district attorneys, selected not by merit but by ideology, dismantled rule of law, one case at a time. In Baltimore, a police officer was imprisoned for tackling a known sex offender. In Austin, a pediatric ICU was shut down after a single whistleblower nurse uncovered that the hospital had quietly started rationing insulin under climate equity protocols. Meanwhile, the Department of Homeland Security issued vague warnings about domestic extremists, never defining who they were, but always keeping the watchmen under surveillance. One watchman, codenamed Paladin, worked out of an abandoned missile silo in Nevada. His real name was Aaron M. Kingsley, former NSA. He'd seen the internal memos. "They're not just demoralizing the nation," he warned his handler. "They're destabilizing our will to exist." The threads ran through everything. In Geneva, a private meeting at the World Stability Forum laid out Phase 4, strategic regression, oil shipment sabotage, coins, but the real trigger would be medicine. A planned cyber attack would target the FDA's drug registry and make 14 of the 20 most prescribed drugs in America. Certifications could be issued, at least 90 days. Riots would follow. The media would blame patriotic hackers. And then, in the chaos, safety, logic. He would speak 10 languages, wear no national flag, and swear by no god. He would offer a unified infrastructure treaty. In reality. Chapter 5. Smoke Before Fire. Some knew. A rogue Israeli analyst intercepted a coded message embedded in a news report about an underwater cable break off the coast of Taiwan. The message read, "Threshold 7 initiated, architect confirmed." In a Bible college hidden in the ruins of Aleppo, an old Christian man wept. "It is as the scrolls warned," he whispered. "They will destroy the world to give birth to a counterfeit savior." Back in America, conservative farmers in Kansas watched trains go by full of wheat, but none of it was headed to grocery stores. It was being diverted to carbon credits depots. A man named Cooper Miller, a disabled marine and wheat farmer, snapped a photo of a Homeland Security agent locking a silo. He was arrested within the hour for obstruction of public safety logistics. The next day, his 17-year-old daughter vanished during a field trip to a state-run women's empowerment center. Chapter 6, Cry for a King. And then the moaning began. Not just hunger, but despair. In London, entire suburbs lost gas service for 10 days during a winter storm. In Brazil, over 1,000 children died from a vaccine batch that misfired. In Nigeria, insurgents tied to the cabal paralyzed the national grid with nothing more than Chinese-made routers. By the time the world saw the pattern, it was too late. He appeared on every screen, not by force, by request. A tall, calm, firm voice, no flags, no crosses, no gods. "I am the architect," he said, "and I come not to rule you, but to rescue you from yourselves." Chapter 7, Last Line. But in a compound deep beneath Alaska, Watchman Command awakened its final protocol. Creator. Not a missile, not an AI. A man. He had no known birth certificate, no biometrics, no face on any screen. He had survived 7 assassinations, 3 betrayals, and the loss of his wife and sons in what was called an accidental methane release. He was the last of the original Watchman founders. And as the world descended into worshipping the new order, he stepped forward into the light with one message: a counterfeit peace is worse than open war. And he knew that the time had come to strike not with missiles or drones but with truth. Because the only thing the architect could not program was a man who still remembered God.